Hi guys, and welcome back to Marvel Contest of Champions. Feels odd to be saying that, as a lot of videos I've made today have been on other games. But Marvel Contest of Champions have released information via Kabam DK, and it's all about Act 5, because we've been waiting, we've been hoping. I mean, from my perspective, I wasn't really bothered about getting it right now. They need to get it right. So the amount of time taken is probably the best solution here. Take as much time as you need, get it right, so we don't have that much to moan about. Because obviously there's going to be a bit of moaning at some point. So, here we go. Hey everyone, we know you've all been busy getting back into the swing of things with Alliance Quest, Alliance Wars on top of Expert Proving Grounds with Signature Stones and the Expert Class Catalyst Daily Quest. Since update 12.0.1, there's been no shortage of questing to be done. But we also know you've been patiently waiting for more news on Act 5 to be released. So, the time and date that we're getting it, your wait is coming to an end, and we can now say that Chapter 1 of Act 5 Elder's War will arrive on Tuesday, March 28th at 10 AM PDT time. Which, if I remember rightly, that's around about 6. Must be about Pacific, whatever it is. 10 AM PDT time, whatever time it is with you, look it up. Because I could say it's a time with me and you all go, well, that's not the same time for me, Rich. Fine, look it up. But keep that in mind. I think I'm going to be grinding it. Anyway, we've been working with a small group of beta testers. Excellent. It would be nice actually to find out what the beta testers, obviously they're probably on a non-disclosure agreement or something like that. Anyway, I wonder what they feel and how they feel about it. They've given us some really valuable feedback. The most important feedback that we received from our testers is that they really enjoy playing through Chapter 1. And a lot of fun while doing so. They also offered us some very valuable insights into things they may have caused some frustrations or trouble for a majority of our players. So it's great that they find it fun. And well, what kind of aspects make it fun? I mean, I was just trying to think what is actually... yeah, fun is like using characters and using different kind of things from characters. Applying stuns, using synergy groups, and getting some kind of like weird kind of crits, amazing crits and stuff like that. I don't know. That the kind of like term like fun. I don't know what fun would be with it. We've made some changes to Act 5 based on what they've told us, but obviously based on a lot of the stuff that obviously has changed from 12.0.1. Sorry, 12.0. And while most of the changes we've made won't be obvious because the majority of our players haven't had access to Act 5, we want to let you know that we did make changes based on the beta test, and we'd like to extend an enormous thank you to our beta testers for commitment and excellent feedback. Good. In our previous thread, a lot of you appreciated the fact that we explained the reasoning behind the new buffs we're introducing, so we thought it would be a good idea to go on buff by buff and explain our thought process with each. We hope this offers insights and transparency, good, like that word, with respect to our intentions in Act 5 and demonstrates the care that went into these buffs. This has been in the works for quite some time, and they're all designed to facilitate certain playstyles and keep things new and challenging. Good. First and foremost, our design philosophy behind Chapter 1 buffs was pretty simple. Buff the player. Good. This is part of our larger goal with Act 5 to challenge players to promote different play strategies beyond the standard ones. So if that's the kind of inkling that you can get these buffs and basically turn your characters into you know, imagine some weird character like Miss Marvel getting regeneration or lifesteal, or I think it's lifesteal, or it's like life transfer. Sorry, life transfer. Act 5 is going to be around forever, and we wanted to have a consistent and lasting challenge. As with any design philosophy, holes get poked in this, changes. Yeah, we as like YouTubers and people tried to come up with kind of ways to kind of poke and like find ways to kind of make the experience a little bit, you know, going round it, just so it's like a little bit easier, and that's the thing about it, call it tips and tricks and stuff, and we try and do that. They're like, hey, they're getting away with murder here. Well, let's stop it. Let's stop it now. Oh dear, we're not gonna catch a break. Ah dear. But also some detriment. The philosophy eventually manifests in buffs and generally gives some benefit, but also some detriment, so that there's a give and take to each fight. Ooh, don't take from me, please. This will be more clear when we talk about each buff individually. Speaking of which, obviously this is a reiterating flare, and I think there's a new mention here, is that the buff was a bit sticking, a big sticking point for a lot of you, our original thread, and we definitely know why. Straight up degens, straight up I say yeet there. Straight up degens can be scary, we know, but the degen here isn't meant to force you to buy potions. It's actually meant to act as a looming challenge for players to finish fights quickly, as opposed to playing hyper defensively. So in our tests, aggressive players were able to finish fights very fast with teams 440 taking very little damage, especially when they had a class advantage. Basically, Flare is designed to encourage aggressive play. Okay, I get that kind of that style with that, and this is good, because then this forms the basis of a guide. So Gabam are helping us with a guide, in that you're going to need stuff with regards to a good bleed. I think good bleeders really, and it could be someone like Agent Venom, maybe quite good for this breakthrough. We've actually changed this one after some more playtesting since we announced it. Now it will take half as many hits to remove the additional armor rating, but it's worth noting that this is not persistent between fights. So if you die, you'll have to land another 25 hits before the armor rating is gone again. Breakthrough is designed to do a couple of things. First, it's meant to discourage brute force, no relation to the other buff in the list. A fight, we want you to carefully consider who you're bringing into the fight and expect to use them for a decent period of time, instead of simply throwing as many champions as you can. Secondly, it's meant to speed the pace of the fight up over time. The fight will start slow, but eventually, if you play well and don't die, you'll reduce the opponent's armor rating to 0 and start dealing way more damage. Well, let's just having a look at every time you land a hit, you reduce the. It's just with regards to breakthrough. I wonder if you can nullify the effect. I doubt it. I really doubt that they would make it that easy for that as a buff to be nullified in any kind of way. I think the same thing has to apply, that hopefully this is on a bleed enabled champion that you can start bleeding out, and that's going to have to be something to look at. Life transfer. This buff can be considered a cousin to Flare. Ooh, didn't know they're related. But as a slightly different intention in game. It's meant to loom over a fight and may very well bring you close to death if you're playing too defensively, but it's also meant to reward well considered consequences of attack. The result is a yo-yo of tension throughout a fight. As an example, one of our playtesters was inches from death playing a Storm, trying to bait a special. They dodged it, then threw her special 2, and it was suddenly back at full health. Whoa! This isn't the only instance of this happening, but it was exciting to watch and easy to see how the buff facilitated a good risk-reward scenario, which is our intention. Very good. I think that's exciting. It's a very different kettle of fish, so to speak. That, whoa, I'm near death. Whoa, I've got health. Yeah, it's quite exciting to kind of see how we're going to play strategy around this, and is this going to be a, are you going to play... It's hard to kind of say whether or not it'd be good to play either aggressively or non-aggressively. And again, like, the same thing can apply. By putting in characters like, will the enemy get life transfer themselves? It meant to loom over meant to. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Life transfer can be very, very unusual. It would be nice to have life transfer in something like Alliance Quest. Just say if it was like very hard or like Map 6 or something like that. But yeah, life transfer. It is what it is. Power focus, burden of. Oh, sorry. We'll go with burden of might. Burden of might and power focus are only used together in chapter 1, so they essentially function as one buff in the context. Burden of might is pretty straightforward in that it's meant to encourage you not to bring champions that buff themselves into the fight. Alright, bye. Well, let's stop the voodoo out the way for that regen. Regeners. If regens are there, they're not going to be very helpful. But originally, that was it. We realised quickly that this was more stick than carrot. Oh, but I like the stick. Playing in a way the buff encouraged you to didn't give you anything. It just became not noticeable and the fight didn't feel unique. To fix this, we added power focus to incentivize champions who would gain power from somewhere other than buffs, i.e. champions who wouldn't proc buffs. We gain power from somewhere from other than buffs. Ooh. No, I'm just trying to think of champions that power gain without the need of buffs. Well, I'd say Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is part of the ability. When that's well, he's strong. He seems to develop a lot of power. Power stealing. Okay, through power stealing. No, not Dormammu. Just trying to think off the top of my head. Mordo's pretty good for power. Mordo in a block stance. Yeah, well, okay, that could be one. The results in this scenario were where it's possible but harder to complete fights with a buff champion. It's way more beneficial to bring someone who doesn't proc buffs, bring someone who has a high crit rate or crit damage. I haven't revisited a crit rate team. I will do that in a later video because I haven't tested out a crit rate team myself. Think about your masteries. When you play in this way, the fights will end super quickly comparatively. I might need to have a look at my masteries then. Right, brute force and kinetic instigator. Like power focus and burden of might, brute force and kinetic instigator are used together, and they're designed to encourage players to be more conscious of the rhythm of the fight and to interrupt the normal flow of combat in interesting ways. Well, sounds to me like they're saying like it's a heavy attack. We want to discourage the normal parry, combo parry or evasion heavy play and instead place difficult decision points into these patterns. If the degen is about to start, do you keep baiting a special? Do you land a single hit to resist it? What would be more dangerous for you if you're playing in a solid rhythm and skilled at baiting specials? You will likely never even feel the degen at all, but just because it doesn't take effect doesn't mean it's not affecting the rhythm of the combat. Kinetic Instigator is here as a bailout from languishing in a cycle of not being able to land a hit. If you're unable to land a hit to resist the timer, you can just pound on the enemy's block enough to throw a special 3 and resist the timer. Oh man, there's going to be a lot of thinking, and they haven't really kind of like specified with the rewards. I don't think anything really has changed. It all seems to be pretty much the same for chapter 1. It's going to need a lot of kind of like thinking on this, and we need to be more strategic with our play and think about they're even saying don't go with the simple things with regards to parry, evade, block, parry, blah blah blah. We have to get out the idea of that. So that's going to be more on the emphasis of doing things like heavy attacks and then blocking, evading back, heavy attack. It's going to need a lot of kind of like thinking about this. It'd be nice to kind of can't wait until next week so we can get this in, so we can have a look, because it's all like, how do we strategize a way of moving forward? And you know, we're gonna have to think up a new patterns with this. We're also gonna have to think about our speed and how quickly we are in the battle. We're gonna have to think about our champions, and obviously champions are going to have to be changed with regards to usefulness, like who is going to be better. Are we going to be using champions like that power steal more? Are we going to be using champions that less on positive buffs, so therefore a lot of the people that we're using are completely out of the system? Are we going to be requiring to keep champions stunned more? We need to know this, and we'll get an idea next week. So this could be very, very interesting, as I always say. So I think we'll end it there. We've gone on long enough. Exciting times to come. I'll be doing some more videos running up to this. Got to get the stuff out, and then I'll see you on the 28th for more of this. So thanks very much for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, please hit the like button. If you want to subscribe for more Marvel Contest of Champions based content as well as gaming content, then please hit that subscribe button. Follow me on social media, link is in the description below, and I shall catch you on the flip side. And yes, I have had my hair cut. Bye bye.